Well, a very good afternoon to all of you, dear students. I will be dealing with Silk Road. I will be dealing with some important portion from Silk Road, as well as I will be discussing few important question answers also from Silk Road. Silk Road is actually chapter number 8 from Hornbill. So hereby I am about to share the screen, and dear students, you will be confirming me whether it is visible to you or not. It is visible. Can you all see it? Okay. So in a nutshell, I want to okay, thank you for your feedback. Now in a nutshell, I want to just highlight few important points, okay, and these points are very important. So let me just highlight few important points in a nutshell so that you all can see it properly. Now remember one thing, this is a travelogue, and the author is Nick Middleton. Nick Middleton, a very learned scholar, as well as he is an environmentalist also, an adventurer also, okay, and we get to know what from this particular chapter. We get to know the challenges and the hardships that he faced during the course of his journey to Mount Kailash, or rather to say in other words, the challenges and hardships that he faced related to his journey towards Mount Kailash. Now if we come to the character, or if we concentrate on the character, then the first and foremost important character is the author. He is adventurous by nature, and obviously he considers the travel a chance, okay, a golden opportunity to do active research related with various topics, like how can the higher altitude affect the health of a person, or what are the changes that is noticeable in case of a human body if a particular individual travels in the higher altitude. So that also, he got a chance to do research on that one also. Apart from that, the journey, the description, the details of the journey we can get from him, as he proceeded in company with two important tourist guides, we can say. Among them, one was also a translator by the name of Daniel. Shitan was the one who was actually driving the car. As you know, he was a very good and efficient driver. He drove the car very carefully, considering the safety of the passengers. And remember, the southwest direction by which they were traveling, it was very narrow. It was very narrow, and traveling in the mountains, you need an expert driver, and Shitan was actually that expert driver. It was a very steep and a very narrow region, but Shitan tactfully drove, and their journey was halted many a times. Can you say why their journey, or which factor actually restricted or halted their journey? What was the factor that actually halted their journey for some time? Again they started again. Yes, can any one of you say? Very simple.
So snow.
Yes, absolutely right, very good. Snowfall. It was snowfall that actually halted or stopped their journey in between. So they had to get down from the car, they had to push the car, they had to use the ice axes and the shovels in order to drive out the snow from the road, because there was plenty of time. Many a times it was found out when we read the NCERT text also, that there was road blockage. So ultimately they had to drive out the excess snow from the way, and then they had to move on. And apart from that, remember, Shitan was really a very good human being, because when the author was actually suffering from excessive cold and cough, what he did, you all know, he took the author to the medical college and cared for his health. He was a good Buddhist and believed that death is not the end of life, okay. But he even told the author regarding this, but he told that if something wrong would have happened to a foreign tourist like the author, then it would have affected his business. But when he found out that the author had recovered, then he left the author and went on his way, because his contact was up to that region only. And see, one more important character we find at the climax part. That character is that of Norbu. Norbu was actually a very learned person, okay. He was actually a research scholar, and his research was related with the ethnic literature, okay, in impact of ethnic literature in social life, okay. That was actually his topic of discussion. and he wrote a lot of journals. He wrote a lot of research work or papers related with the Kailash Koda, but it was the first time that he decided to undertake the journey, and he was also alone. And the author was also suffering from two important crises. As you know, number one, it was communication, and next one, he was feeling very lonely. So Norbu was the one who actually satisfied the narrator by being with him, because the author was feeling lonely, and obviously Norbu was also able to converse with the author in English. Okay, so before I move on to the short synopsis and the theme, just wait, I hope there is someone on the line. Yes, good afternoon Disha, welcome to the class.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. So I am just important points related with the Silk Road I am highlighting. Character I have already highlighted. Now I am highlighting the short synopsis and the theme. We all know that the name of the author is Nick Middleton, and in your NCERT text, if you read the initial lines, you will get to know that the journey actually started from Ravu. Okay, from the base camp near Ravu, the journey had started, and the author had started the journey in the company of two men. One was Daniel and the other was Shitan. Okay, now before leaving the place, a Tibetan lady by the name of Hamo, remember L is silent, so the name is, pronunciation is Hamo, okay, gave the author a gift. And what was that gift? That she gave the author a long sleeve sheepskin coat. It was a token of respect and deep love for the author, okay, because with the author actually had communicated with her, and obviously at that moment Daniel actually helped the author, because the author was unaware of the Tibetan language, so Daniel actually acted as the translator. And obviously in the course of the conversation, she got to know from the author that the author's main target or the main mission was to do the Kailash Koda, and obviously traveling in the higher altitude, it will be bitter cold. So that was the reason she gifted a long sheepskin coat to the author. Okay, their next destination was Mount Kailash, and Shitan said he knew a shortcut. He said the journey would be smooth if there was no snow. So as they passed by the hills, they could see the lonely Drogbas tending their flocks. They were men and women who would pause and stare at their car, occasionally waving as they passed. Now this is something very important. See, now this has been described also. Whatever the author had experienced in the course of his journey while he was traveling inside a car that was being driven by Shitan, accompanied by Daniel, whatever he saw, he wrote it down, and it was a great experience for the author, as well as when we are reading it, we are feeling like that we are traveling with the narrator, right? Because the style of writing is a bit offbeat, but at the same time it is very engaging. Okay, now see, and it was very difficult to predict the weather in the higher altitude. Now at the moment it is very much you can say it is full of sunshine, but the very next moment it can be snowfall. So it is very unpredictable. So while they passed by, what they saw gazelles also, they saw the Drogbas. Okay, Drogbas, can any one of you say who are referred as the Drogbas? Yes, please. Can it? Yes, absolutely right. Very good. Tibetan shepherds, they were referred as Drogbas. And even apart from that, some donkeys, Tibetan donkeys were also been seen. Gazelles were seen. And apart from that, the Tibetan mastiffs were also been seen. And those mastiffs were chasing the car. They were completely courageous and fearless. And the way they were chasing the car, remember, I hope you all have remembered, it was compared with a bullet fired from a gun, isn't it? Now you see, as they passed the nomads' tents, there were the Tibetan mastiffs, as I was talking about, these big, large hunting dogs. They would start barking as they near the tents, chase the car for some time distance, and then go silent. As soon as the car crosses the particular domain of the area, as long as the car was in that particular domain or area, they went on chasing the car. But as soon as the car crossed that area, they stopped chasing the car. And remember, it was not a smooth journey because the road was very steep, very narrow, and it was sharper and bumpier also. And obviously there was road blockage. And obviously you know why there was road blockage there, because there was unexpected snowfall on the way. So that created road blockage. Okay. The author and Daniel got out of the car for Shitan to drive it safely. The icy top layer of the snow was very dangerous. But remember one thing, Shitan drove the car in a very tactful manner. Okay. But remember, in the course of the journey, the snowfall continued blocking their way, and they sometime had to get down from the car, had to push the car, had to take out their shovels and ice axes, had to drive out the snow from the road, and then they had to move on once again. Okay, so it was a painstaking, tedious, difficult journey that the author had underwent. Okay, finally, as you know, Shitan, then the author, they reached a guest house in Darchen. The author had a very troubled night. Why? Because he was suffering from excessive cold and cough. And it is written in your text, when he was lying down, he was feeling like that he had no life inside his body. But the moment he was getting up on the bed, he felt relaxed. But this should not be. This should not go on a regular occasion. So that is the reason the next day Shitan actually took him to the Darchen Medical College, where a Tibetan doctor did his treatment, and the author recovered within a couple of days. And when the author had recovered, then Shitan decided to leave the author, because Shitan decided to go on his own way. See, Shitan left the author in Darchen and went away to carry on with his work. He was a good Buddhist and he believed in life after death. However, Shitan very frankly told the author that he was worried it could affect his business if something wrong would have happened to the author. But thank God nothing else happened as such, because after the narrator consumed the Tibetan medicines which he saw for the very first time, despite that when he consumed it, he recovered. Okay, the author was worried as Shitan left. He felt lonely and deserted. But remember one thing, when he met Norbu, he felt happy because he could communicate in English also. And at the very end, what we get to know, that he undertaken the Kailash Kora, or the journey towards Mount Kailash, in the company of this particular gentleman by the name of Norbu. Okay, see, the author wanted to reach Mount Kailash to do Kora, but he did not want to do it alone, because he was feeling very lonely. He can't communicate properly also, because most of the people, maximum people, they were speaking in Buddhist language, and few of them can hardly communicate in English. So Norbu was the right person, and Norbu was actually a research scholar who was doing research related with the significance of the ethnic literature. Significance of the ethnic literature in Tibet. Okay, and in and around China and Tibet. So he accompanied the narrator. See, in a cafe, Middleton met Norbu, originally a Tibetan who was working in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. This part you have to memorize, okay, because Norbu was a very learned person, very bulky, learned, and his dress was a bit Western also. He followed a bit Western tradition also. He was very learned, because the way he was wearing the dress, it was not like the traditional Buddhist dress. Okay. So finally you see, he too was there to do the Kora. See, Norbu had written many journals, he has written many research, he has done many research work, wrote many thesis papers, but this is the first time when he decided to undertake the journey. And obviously he was also searching for a partner, he was also looking for a partner. Finally he found the author. Okay, see, the author decided to accompany Norbu to climb Mount Kailash. In that way the text ends. Okay, your NCERT chapter ends with this. Finally we find that the author and Norbu, they both decided that they will accompany together in the journey towards Mount Kailash. Now, since the storyline and the characters and the short gist I had already given to you, and now I am about to move on to some important short questions. So, before this is another slide I am showing you right now. Dear students, please confirm me whether this content that I have projected right now in front of you, is it visible to all of you? Can you all see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I hope the synopsis and the plot summary, I guess the theme and the characters and obviously the genre of the story is very much clear to all of you. Now let me just discuss some important short questions. Total 17 are there. I will be discussing only the important ones. Number one is all are important, but specifically the most important ones only I am discussing with you all. See the first one. Look at the question. What was the farewell present given by Hamo to the author when he told her that he was going to Mount Kailash? Now, what was actually the farewell present? Okay, that was given by Hamo to the author. What exactly was that farewell present? See, the farewell present given by Hamo to the author when he told her that he was going to Mount Kailash was a long sleeve sheepskin coat. Remember, long sleeve sheepskin coat. Normally the local Tibetan shepherds or the Drogbas, they wear it because in the higher altitude it becomes bitter cold. You need jackets. It is like a jacket, but it is traditionally been prepared. So it was given by the lady by the name of Hamo when the author actually communicated to her that he was about to travel to the higher altitude. He was about to travel to the Mount Kailash. Now she felt that the coat would protect him. Him means Nick Middleton, the author, from the cold weather on the mountain. So that was the reason it was given. Okay, now you see the next one. Now this is also a very important question. What was the hurdle that they faced? Not only the author but Shitan and Daniel, what was the main problem that they faced on their way to Mount Kailash? What was the hurdle? See, Shitan said that their journey to Mount Kailash should involve crossing several high mountain passes. And remember, as I told you when I was discussing the synopsis part, that the way or the road was, that is the southwest direction. It was a shortcut, but they had to pass by several high mountain passes and it was very steep and narrow. The road was actually very steep and narrow and there was road blockage also because of snowfall. Okay, that was also the main hurdle. The only hurdle would be snow on the way, or rather to say snowfall. He could not say anything for sure until they reached there. Okay, but when the author asked Shitan that what presumably can be the weather, but Shitan couldn't say anything because it is very difficult to predict the weather in the higher altitudes or in the mountainous regions. Okay, now the next one is this question. This is also a very important question. How did the Tibetan mastiffs react when they approached? See, the dogs would cock their great big heads when they became aware of their approach and would fix them in their sights. And remember, they went on pursuing them. Okay, and they were actually chasing the car as if like a bullet had been fired from a gun. They immediately, or rather to say, dear students, they instantly explode into action. Okay, see, speeding directly towards them like a bullet from a gun and nearly as fast. Okay, next one, this one. Remember the special watch? That watch, with the help of that watch, the altitude can also be calculated because the author, the special watch, digital height reading plus the time, both the author can see. And remember, that is the reason the altitude above the sea level, he was mentioning that one. How it was possible? Because of that altimeter wristwatch. Time also plus the digital height reading also can be done. See, the author could tell the height that they were at by looking at his wristwatch because he was wearing an altimeter wristwatch. This kind of watch gives a digital height reading because telling the time, digital height reading. Okay, that is possible. Now, see the next one. This question is important. Describe the appearance of Hor. Very, very important. Remember, this Hor was a miserable place. Okay, there was no sanitation, no vegetation. The place was bleak and rugged also. And the place was littered with garbage and rubbish. And remember, the author was actually very very concerned about environment. I mean, because he was an environmentalist also. He is an environmentalist also. So the rubbish or the garbage been littered or scattered. Okay, he was very much pretty concerned about it, and that is the reason he wrote about it. Okay, we got to know about it, right? Now see another important question, what troubled the author at Darchen? Now this is important. Remember, he suffered from sinus problem. Sinus problem was also there, nose blockage was also there, oxygen intake was less. He was suffering because enough oxygen he couldn't breathe. Okay, because he was having some breathing problem also. See, he was unable to go to sleep at night as his nostrils were totally blocked. Okay, he felt his chest becoming very heavy as he was not able to breathe in enough oxygen, and that was the reason the very following day or the very next day it was Shitan who took him to the Darchen Medical College. And remember, it was looking more of a monastery and less as a medical college. There the doctor was looking less of a doctor, more as a Buddhist monk. Okay, he gave some medicines and the author recovered. We all know about it. See, what according to the doctor was the problem the author suffered from? Very simple. According to the doctor, the author suffered from a bad cold as well as the effects of altitude. His sinuses were blocked. I told you sinus problem, and he was not able to sleep at night. Okay, because less oxygen intake. So some medicines were given. Those medicines were also quite peculiar ones because the author haven't seen those medicines earlier. Okay, but when the author had consumed those medicines, within a couple of days he became totally recovered. He recovered from his sickness, or rather to say, he recovered from his blocked nose and illness. Now, who was Norbu? Very important short question, dear students. See, Norbu was a Tibetan, but he worked in Beijing at the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and obviously his specialization was related with ethnic literature. And what is the significance of ethnic literature in China as well as in Tibet? His research work was related to that. And regarding Kailash Kora, he has written many theses, research work been done, but he did it without any field work. This is the first time he was undertaking the pilgrimage on his own. And so there is a similarity with the author, because the author is also undertaking a pilgrimage, and both are academician, because the author himself was also a professor. Okay, we get to know about it. Why had Norbu came to Kailash? See, Norbu has been writing academic papers or thesis papers, as I told you all, you know it by this time, about the Kailash pilgrimage, and not only that, importance of the Kailash pilgrimage, importance of the ethnic literature, okay, all these things, see. But he had never done it himself. That means he haven't done this Kailash Kora or this pilgrimage by himself. And he was also there to do the pilgrimage, and it was the first time he was undertaking the pilgrimage. But previously he had written many research work, many theses, many academic papers related with this Kailash pilgrimage, and importance of this pilgrimage in the Buddhist literature, then the impact of ethnic literature in and around the Kailash, in and around Tibet and China. His research work was related to that. So this is the first time he is undertaking a field work on his own. Okay, now, or rather to say, he is undertaking an excursion for the very first time. One more question. See, how did Norbu become an ideal companion for the author? See, Norbu was an ideal companion for the author, as both were academics. I told you the author was also a professor by profession. And obviously Norbu, he himself was also, a research scholar. So they are both from academics who had come off from their academic work. We know that both were not devout believers, but they did not intend to prostrate themselves all around the mountain like other pilgrims. And the author was initially very upset because communication problem was there with the other people, because they can't speak with him fluently, and apart from that he was feeling very lonely. So it was Norbu who actually satisfied all these two criteria, okay, and obviously became a companion of the author. And at the very end of the chapter, what we find, that both decided to undertake the pilgrimage, or rather to say, both decided to undertake the journey together. Okay, author and Norbu. Clear? So any doubt up to this? All the 17 questions I haven't discussed, specifically the important ones I had highlighted. You will go by all the questions, and if you feel like there is any doubt, if you have, you can obviously call me up. You can text me up also. Is there any doubt whatever I discussed till now in this live class with all of you, dear students? Is there any doubt at the back of your minds? Okay. Thank you everyone. Have a nice day. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Thank you,
everyone.